Hello! Coming to you live from New Zealand. It's Mean on Mondays, episode 19. I'm
Hi.
Christina.
Hi, and I'm still Joe.
So today we want to talk about giving yourself permission. It's so important that you go easy on yourself when you're in a class setting or a convention setting. And just because we're here teaching on convention this weekend and next weekend, we thought we'd come to you from a different part of the globe and just give you a little insight on our thoughts on giving yourself permission.
And so the thing about giving yourself permission, as Tilly said, it's about going easy on yourself in class. And the thing about that is you can go hard in any scenario, whether it's in class or a wider dance scenario. But going easy on yourself is encouraging your mind not to be quite so judgy and not to be quite so rigid with limits. For example, when I used to take class as a young thing, just a couple of years ago. Be nice, be nice. I was that kid, and everybody's experience is different, so this is my personal example. I was the kid who was at the back of the class, desperate to come down the front. And I waited. I thought if I was good enough, quote unquote, if I was good enough, then I would be invited to come forward. So what I was effectively seeking was the teacher's permission to come forward, even if the teacher was rotating the room. So I'm not saying partway through anything, you should push your way to the front and stand there. The thing is, the teacher was rotating the room and saying, I think we should make sure you're moving around. Okay, rotate lines, different people come through. I would stay in the back, but wait for permission to come forward. And it's not till all these years later that I've realized that what was necessary in that scenario was not to wait for the teacher to give me approval, to give me permission, but what was necessary was the confidence in myself to give myself permission to come down, to not wait for an individual invitation, because that's not going to happen all the time. You might happen on the odd occasion where you get called out for something, but waiting for that would mean I was waiting a long time. So for me, it was about giving myself permission to come on down, to vote for myself.
Totally. I had the same experience, but for a different reason. When I was first in Los Angeles taking classes, I stood in the back. I stood in the back for a long time, and not because I was waiting for the teacher to call me up like you. I was waiting to know what I was doing a little better. So I thought I wasn't going to get it well enough to stand in the front and possibly make a huge mistake and make a fool of myself. And it wasn't until someone said, many people who've taken class from me over the years have probably heard me tell this story, but I was in the back of the class, and someone who I danced with weekly, who happened to be maybe 10 years older than me, said, why are you standing in the back? Maybe you should move to the front and think for yourself. And I got so, for a moment I was like, oh.
Ouch.
Yeah, that hurt. But then when I looked at it, it actually was a reality for me. I didn't know that I was counting on other people to think for me. So my lesson there was to come to the front and take a chance for myself. So when I did that, I actually was so lost. I was so lost for a little while, but it felt so good later to know that I might have been messing up in the front corner, but after a while I moved to the middle, and so I could own that space. So I needed to give myself permission to mess up, to take a chance and to mess up. So that was a huge lesson for me, and a big ouch in the beginning when when someone said that to me, because that felt ouchy.
And as a side note, some of those really relevant lessons and notes to self can feel a little bit ouchy because they hit you right in the place you've been hiding. I feel like. Right. And then a quick note about permission: it doesn't mean that we ignore etiquette. So giving yourself permission to sort of take charge of a room, or to speak out and ask a question, or in a rehearsal to do whatever you want when actually the director or choreographer is asking something different. We're not talking about ignoring the etiquette and the accepted process of what it is to be part of dancing. We're talking about giving yourself permission to be a little bit nervous, rather than berating yourself, going, why do I always get so nervous? Why are my nerves so big and that person doesn't have the same thing? Giving yourself permission to try something new and be a beginner at it, so that it's not perfect first time you do it.
Right. And I was just going to say, even though I stepped up to the front to think for myself, not realizing that I wasn't, I did stay over in the corner, and in classes that I took on a regular basis, I felt okay to say to the teacher, you know what, obviously I haven't been thinking for myself, and I am not learning to get the combo quickly. So excuse me while I'm up in the front corner trying to think for myself and not watch other people. But I definitely wouldn't take it upon myself to move straight up to the center and just be totally lost and get in everyone's way, because
No.
that wouldn't be, again, good class etiquette.
Absolutely.
So that's just something to think about.
And it doesn't have to be an if/then scenario. If I get invited to be in the front by a teacher, so if that teacher singles me out, then I am good enough to go down the front. If I have the choreography perfect, then I can go down the front. Because we don't have a crystal ball, so we don't know if that if is ever going to come. But we do know that the time is going to pass, and what you want to be doing is getting stronger. What you want to be doing is growing. So you want to it's about letting some of that needing permission from outside of yourself go a little bit, so you can actually let yourself grow.
Right. Nice.
Yeah. All right.
Go,
Give
let
yourself
grow.
permission.
Let go and grow.
Peace out from New Zealand.
Bye, guys.
Bye.